Hello. We are back with another episode and we have notes. So for some of these messages, I will actually go into the Akashic Records and channel things like what are Lightworker Missions. And it's sort of, I go in and I just unpack whatever is sort of revealed to me, and then I share that with you guys. So if you're new here, hi, I'm Madison. I read the Akashic Records for myself and for others. I also do and teach Reiki, and I am a medium as well. So if you are interested in spiritual or metaphysical topics, would love to have you follow along. So today we are talking about Lightworker Missions. If you are looking for your soul purpose and you resonate with the term Lightworker, this is going to be the video for you. Because whenever I first started to hear the term Lightworker, I personally didn't have a clue what that meant. I was sort of like, yeah, I'm probably that, but like what falls into the Lightworker category? So let's get into it. We are going to go through 6 different Lightworker archetypes, and by archetypes think healer, teacher, different things like that. But before we do that, I want to tell you guys a little bit about who I am and how I found the Akashic Records and soul purpose, because that will sort of tie into how I came across this information. So I am somebody who I actually had a corporate career, and I've had spiritual gifts since I was a kid, and I always felt very out of place because of my spiritual gifts. I very much felt like I didn't fit in. I tried to suppress them for a while, but my spiritual gifts just kept coming up, right? And so eventually I was like, okay, well, if these gifts aren't going anywhere, I need to figure out like why I have them and what I'm supposed to be doing with them. So I happened to stumble upon a podcast talking about the Akashic Records. And all I knew is that it was like channeled connection with your spirit guide. And if you could figure out how it worked, you could figure out your soul purpose and your soul mission. So I went into the Akashic Records, not really knowing a lot, not really having a lot of training, and was just like, hey, it's me. What am I doing here? What's my purpose? Why am I a medium? How come, the gifts won't go away? Like, what am I supposed to be doing? And because I didn't actually go through kind of the proper channels of learning how to get into the Akashic Records the first time, I kind of felt like I didn't get an answer. And then about a week later, I am in Costa Rica at this spiritual retreat, but the spiritual retreat is hosted by somebody who also does mediumship and Akashic Records and like all these different things that I'm super interested in, right? So the very first night I have this random roommate, never met her up until the trip, and we all knew we were gonna get a random roommate. I'm like, cool, we follow each other on Instagram before. I'm like, this is gonna be great. So the very first night we're there, I have a moment where my dad, who's one of my spirit guides, he brings me her parents, and both her parents had passed and both her parents had a message for her. So I have this, spirit guide interaction where I get this, incredible message and download to give to my random roommate who I just met 5 hours ago. And this is before I was out of the broom closet. So now obviously I have, a business around spiritual work, but at this point I was still in the broom closet. Nobody knew I was a medium. Nobody knew I could channel. Nobody knew I was having these experiences. And so the whole trip, right, it's like 5 or 6 days. Every day her parents come back to me like, did you tell her? And I was like, I didn't tell her. So finally the very last day, I'm like, hey, I have something kind of crazy to tell you. I'm a medium and I have a message from your parents. And so I give her this message that came through from her parents, and she immediately is like, you don't understand, like I've been like searching for this. Like I've basically been like praying, asking the universe basically really specific questions, that the message that you gave is the answer to those questions. And I was like, whoa, I didn't even know it worked like that, right? Because again, this is before I'm really fully in my spiritual gifts and before I'm like, okay, yes, I'm gonna do something with my spiritual gifts. So I was like, that's crazy, and it was the first time that I realized I could use my abilities to act as a channel to help connect people with messages from the other side that may help with things like grief or pain or uncertainty or whatever, right? So I come home and I have quite a few other experiences like that with friends and family and just different things, right? And so I start to be like, oh, is this why I have the gifts? Like, am I supposed to help other people with grief through mediumship? Because if so, like, I don't want to. Like, I don't want to tell people I'm a medium. I don't want to be doing this work publicly. Pick a different path for me, right? So then I eventually, start getting, deeper into Akashic Records, learning how to access them properly, starting to read for myself, starting to practice reading on others. And now I'm in this place where I know I can read Akashic Records and do mediumship readings for others. And I'm also, becoming a Reiki master. And I'm still really hesitant about what to do, right? Because whenever I first started doing this work, I did so many free readings just to like double check that, it wasn't a coincidence or, whatever, all these ways that self-doubt comes in. And so then once I started doing Akashic Records readings, and I also teach Akashic classes. So if you are interested in having an Akashic reading or a class, you can check my website. It's linked in the show notes and in my bio. But I realized the main reason people were coming to the Akashic Records was, like me, they wanted to understand their soul purpose, or also like me, they wanted to understand their past lives and other experiences that their soul has encountered. So through this, I really started to notice that there were a few main themes that came through as Lightworker missions or Lightworker purposes here on planet Earth. And so I share all that with you guys to basically share how I came across this information. So some of this is channeled from the Akashic Records. Well, all of it is in some capacity, whether it be through me working with others, me working with myself, or just me going in and saying, what are the main Lightworker missions? Because 2026 is a huge year of awakening. So if you're here, you probably recently had a spiritual experience, a spiritual awakening. You want to know, what do I do with my gifts now? So let's get into it. First mission of Lightworkers, healer. This is going to be probably one of the more common soul missions. So healer is going to be everybody from a Reiki practitioner, a quantum healer, sound healing, yoga therapy, crystal healing, tarot. A lot of readers also fall under the healer category because they actually heal through their readings. So there's kind of some of these categories we'll go through that interlap and kind of intertwine. And there's also a lot of us that come here that have multiple of these. So like I very much have the healer soul mission, but I also have a couple of the other soul missions. So if you hear these and you're like, I think I have multiples, you absolutely can. Another thing that would fall under healer is there's a lot of like women's spiritual circles now. So the people that are leading those, you're a healer. Also, I've seen and am predicting that this shift is going to continue, that there's going to be a big shift as we move into Reiki and quantum healing becoming more normalized. So we're going to see a lot of people in Western medicine, nurses, doctors, want to move out of the traditional medical practices and move into more of the holistic space. And so there's a lot of nurses and doctors and things like that that fall into this category, but also might fall into this category because they might feel called into new earth ways of being a healer. Okay, next soul mission, teachers. And I want to clarify that I had two different types of teachers come through, and you can be both. Here's what I mean by that. There are teachers that teach students, and there are teachers that teach teachers. So what I mean by that is teachers that teach students, you are teaching somebody who wants to know and apply this knowledge for their own life. That's fabulous. Teachers who teach teachers, you are teaching people who want to go on to take this knowledge to teach this information to other people to essentially raise the awareness and the consciousness of the planet. There is no right or wrong. There is no better or worse. Both are incredibly needed at this time. But it was very clearly that like you can do both, and that some people start out as somebody who's teaching students, and by the end they are teaching teachers, right? And so I don't necessarily think that it matters which one you are, but I just wanted to distinguish or delineate because both of those messages came through. And when we talk about teachers, we're talking about Reiki teachers, sound healers that are teaching, yoga teachers, astrology teachers, manifestation teachers. Like if you were saying, hey, I've really gotten this thing down in my life and now I'm going to show others how to implement that in their life, whatever way or modality that shows up, you're under the teacher category there. So soul mission number 3 of Lightworkers is being a reader. So I'm talking Akashic Records, tarot, rune, astrology. It doesn't matter, right? If you are a reader, that is one of the soul missions. And this a lot of times readers also fall under the teacher and or healer category. And it can also be something where they're kind of a mixture. Like maybe you heal through your readings, or maybe readings lead you into teaching others how to do readings. You know, there's so many ways that these missions overlap. But two things that I'm seeing be really highlighted for 2026 is readers and healers. There are a lot of people that are going to be awakening that are like, I want to try Reiki. I want to try a reading for the first time. And there's also going to be a big shift in people. Like right now, how everybody has a therapist, it's almost like everybody's going to have like a psychic, right? Or a Reiki healer. And so I definitely sense that big shift coming. So if you're like, why am I feeling called to get into this work now? That's why, right? Because what I've seen is like the shift of awakening that's going to happen. As of right now, there's not enough practitioners to deal with that influx. So there's a lot of people that are being called to start to step into that. So that way, as the Great Awakening happens, there's at least enough resources for the people that are going through their period of awakening. Okay, next soul mission of Lightworkers is a pillar. And so a pillar is somebody who is stability for Lightworkers. So this is somebody who maybe they're spiritual in their own regard, but likely they are with, married to, dating, whatever, somebody who is very deep into their spiritual journey, whether it be a teacher, a public figure, somebody who is maybe revolutionizing the way we look at spirituality or metaphysics. And all of these really powerful, really influential spiritual leaders all have somebody that's kind of their pillar or their person that they can rely on, trust, that keeps them grounded and is there for them. And they may not be as spiritually in tune, but they get that person and they allow that person to be themselves. And so what I wrote is this might be a pillar. Maybe you're with somebody that they're in the public eye, or maybe you are also with somebody who's going through an intense awakening and they need that just love and support while they're going through that. So there's a lot of ways the pillars show up. Okay, fifth soul mission is I wrote down awakener / seeker of truth. So there are people on Reels and YouTube that I personally follow because I wouldn't say I am one of these people. Maybe I am, but I'm very interested in this topic, which is people that are talking to us about metaphysical concepts that most humans can't comprehend, quantum topics that humans can't comprehend. Also people who dig into the facts behind conspiracy theories. There's a page I love, it's called Y Files, and he basically goes through, here's all the conspiracy theories, here's the facts, here's the eyewitness accounts, all that stuff. And so he takes you through actually understanding why people believe in whatever conspiracy theory and gives you the education and the ability to decide for yourself on whether or not you believe in that. So that's, the awakeners and the truth seekers, they also can fall under teachers, but ultimately you are here because you want to blow the lid off of how we as humans believe that our world operates or our religious systems operate or whatever. You're bringing a completely different way of thinking, and people might not love that because it's not going to be mainstream, right? And that's okay because you didn't come here to be mainstream. Okay, soul mission number 6 is going to be, I wrote down ET expert, extraterrestrials. So there are, I'm not going to say a lot, there are a couple really good New Age spiritual teachers that actually channel extraterrestrials and are working with organizations like the Galactic Federation. If you're not much into aliens, you more follow me for the spiritual side. There are Elizabeth April is somebody who I personally follow and love. She channels the Galactic Federation, which is an organization of interdimensional beings that are actually meeting to help Earth advance as a civilization, really, right? And so there are this other level of experts. They specifically have the ET connections, right? Whether it be through telepathy, whether it be through remote viewing, channeling. This is something that I'm seeing right now being the smaller percentage of the soul missions that is really going to start to explode over the next 3 to 5 years, because the more and more we get close to disclosure and everybody being on the same page that, like, yes, there's life outside of the earth, the more people are going to want to interact with that and start to open doors and start to be able to channel. So that's one that I see right now being a small percentage of light workers, but I see that being something that grows over the next few years. Couple things that I wanted to highlight. You can have multiple missions, but I want to highlight that these are soul missions that you chose before you incarnated here, right? Like you didn't get here and then you decide, oh, I'm going to be a healer. Like you came here with the intention of being the awakener, being the healer, being the pillar. Like that's a predestined thing that you decided before you chose to incarnate into this life. So I did want to highlight that because I think some people are like, well, how do I know? And it's like, you don't decide that. You've already decided that at a soul level, you know? Why have multiple missions? They're all interconnected, right? And when I think of missions too, I also think of they come in phases, right? So I've been in a big phase of being a reader, and I definitely, you know, looking at the future of my business, I think there will be a day where I don't offer one-on-one readings anymore. I don't know when that day will come, but I do definitely see a future where my business is more teacher rather than healer and reader. And again, they all are intertwined, but it's almost like you might be in different phases of life where you utilize different missions, and then you kind of allow those missions to build on each other, if that makes sense. So I personally resonate with all of these except for the pillar. I'm definitely not the pillar, and I'm definitely not an ET expert. However, extraterrestrials and just aliens is something that I'm definitely going to be trying to learn more about in 2026, so there might be some stuff to come. I don't know if I'll post it on YouTube or on my 5D membership. If you're new here, I have a 5D membership where I post exclusive channeled messages and videos and how-tos through my membership, where you can actually try it for a week free if you want, and you get new messages every single Monday, and you have access to a library of things like how to connect with your Akashic Records, your higher self, how to do a past life regression. So if that interests you, head to my website. Okay, so I, as I mentioned, kind of started healer reader. That's started to evolve into teacher, and then I feel like that is sort of allowing me to now go the path of like truth seeker, but also ET, and like learn more about those. I don't think I'm, and I could be wrong, I don't think I'm going to be like an ET expert, but I definitely want to learn more. And I'm definitely a big, I wouldn't say I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I always want to know the information behind the conspiracy theories and then decide for myself what I believe. So this year for me, if you want to work with me, as I mentioned, I do offer one-on-one Akashic Records readings. As I also mentioned, I don't know, will I offer those for the whole year? Maybe, I don't know. But just check my website. And then I'm also going to be spending a lot of time and energy developing my 5D membership program. There is a library and a database there that is to help you on your spiritual awakening journey, similar to like a New Age Earth School or a New Age Mystery School. So if that's something that feels aligned for you, like I said, you can try it for a week for free on my website, and there is new videos that come every week there. I'm also going to be doing a retreat. I really feel called to do a retreat in Egypt later in the year, so I have nothing planned. I'm just kind of throwing this out to the universe, like this is what I feel drawn to do, and if it's supposed to come to fruition, it will. I'll let you guys know when I have more details. Other things that I'm really going to be diving into this year in terms of topics. Quantum topics. Right now I'm trying to learn a method of quantum healing, and I am just at the point where I'm starting to practice on people. So I'm going to keep you guys updated with how that's going, like as I'm actually starting to work on people and practice on people, what I'm noticing, how the sessions are going, all of that we're going to go through just kind of real time with you guys. I also am feeling very drawn to go back to school for metaphysics, so we're going to start learning more about metaphysical concepts such as feng shui, quantum leaping, quantum healing, and I'm also going to be doing some videos where I'm going to be unpacking the concept of the Galactic Federation. There are a lot of people that have very strong opinions on the Galactic Federation, and I just want to go into the Akashic Records and get the Akashic Records perspective of the Galactic Federation. Is it real? What are they here for? All of that. That kind of falls under the wanting to learn more about the extraterrestrials. So that's what you guys have to come with me this year. Thank you so much for being here and supporting. If you would like and subscribe to the channel, that's huge. If there is anybody in your world that you think would want to know this or would fall under the Lightworker category, you can feel free to share it with them. I will see you guys next video. I do new videos every Tuesday and Thursday, and then every Monday is when my 5D videos go live only on my website. So I will see you guys in the 5D membership or maybe in an Akashic reading, and I will also see you next video.